I remember that she was then moving on to a different job. And she said to me, I really think that you should go back to retail, but do high-end retail. And then this is when I told you that, yeah, I had worked for Louis Vuitton for 3+ years in my formidable years. Because again, the luxury client is a different client. They're educated.
Yes.
They have a certain level of expertise. They want a certain level of treatment. They want you to really know your stuff on the other end of the counter. And then that's when I realized that not all sales are created equal. Not all salespeople are created equal.
Welcome to the Expert in You podcast, the show for professional entrepreneurs, experts, authors, speakers, coaches, and consultants who are ready to elevate their business, expand their influence, and boost their bank accounts. Join us as we dive deep with industry-leading experts who share their top strategies, invaluable insights, practical tips, and personal experiences to help you achieve extraordinary growth and success. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, stay ahead of the curve, or find that competitive edge, this podcast is your ultimate resource for unlocking your full potential. So tune in, get inspired, grab your coffee, and let's unlock the expert in you. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Ann Carden, and I'm really excited for my guest today. I have Mariangelica Alvarado with me today, and she is a fractional business development consultant. She is a public speaker, and she's doing some really great things with her company called Luminary Catalyst. So Mariangelica, first of all, your name is just beautiful. Welcome to my show.
Well, thank you, Anne. It is a pleasure to be here. I love meeting women that are on the cutting edge of what they're doing and their expertise, and that's definitely you. So this is a huge compliment. Thank you again for inviting me on your show.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. So why don't we just start by you giving just a real brief summary of what you do in your company and who you serve, and then we're going to dive a little bit into your story and how you got here.
Sure. So Luminary Catalyst, I'm a math and science girl. And so I've always loved chemistry as well. And I always thought when there's a catalyst reaction or there's spark of an idea, it illuminates a path. So that became the name of the company because after being in sales for 25 years, yeah, it's been that long. You pick up a trick or two on how to make your sales more effective. And business development is something that is so broad and vast that I realized there's no way to learn it from a book. I've picked up, some lessons over the past 25 years, and I'm like, no one's doing fractional business development. They do fractional marketing, fractional CFOs, chief operation officers, but no one does it in business development. And I realized that was a niche that I could definitely help and bring the B2B experience to different companies that are looking to break that glass ceiling for themselves and start sparking better revenue for their company.
I love it. I think there's such a need out there. And a lot of companies don't really do a great job training their sales force or their sales team. And so I always love this niche. I think sales is one of the best niches to be in. I mean, it seems like a lot of people are in marketing, right? But more people, I think, need to be in the sales side of things because these companies really do need some help. And a lot of times they'll even hire people in sales positions like VP positions, but maybe the experience isn't even there as far as like managing and training teams. And maybe they've done it for themselves, but they haven't run teams or anything like that. So I think this is such a great area of expertise, and 25 years, that is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, thank you. Yes. It seems that there's always been sales and marketing. Sales and marketing has always been kind of bundled together.
Yes.
And I love it because yes, sales does need marketing, but there's a difference. Marketing is more almost like theory, and then sales is what breathes life into it. It'll test out the marketing campaigns. It'll see if it's got traction, but sales is always kind of at the end of it. And then sales teams are always like, this is what you get. And for me, it was always, how do I tailor? How do I make it mine? How do I use it on my expertise? How do I open doors with the marketing that they're giving me? But how do I personalize it? How do I tweak it? So that's where I say to people, business development uses marketing, but through the lens of business development. And that's where it's different.
Yeah. And I love that. A lot of people don't realize they do kind of lump sales and marketing together, and they don't realize they are actually two very separate, really divisions. But here's a problem that I see inside of companies, and that is the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So if the marketing is not bringing good leads, it doesn't matter how good the salespeople are, right? And if the marketing company is bringing good leads, leads and the salespeople aren't good, the end result is the same either way. So the two have to really cohesively work together. The leads have to be quality and the salespeople have to be quality to go ahead and turn those into revenue for companies. So they are two separate processes, but they do need to work together. And I think a lot of companies, maybe they're starting to figure that out, but
They are.
a long time, they lumped it together. And then, the marketing people would blame the salespeople and the salespeople would blame the marketing people, right? So I like that you actually kind of do both, or you're kind of working in both of those areas with people when you're helping them.
I work in the sense that I look at their marketing and their collateral material and I ask them, like, how do you think this should be utilized? I can tell you from the eyes of a salesperson how the sales team would probably use it, but is it effective messaging,
Right.
or things like that. So I tell people, Luminary Catalyst doesn't design logos, does not design websites per se, but we will help tweak messaging for websites. I believe that a call to action should be in everything you do, every post, every email, everything. How you and I met. We met through LinkedIn.
Yes.
And it was this, let's meet. It's that sense of urgency, that call to action that you and I have from just our backgrounds, that a lot of marketing people, they make it pretty, but there's no call to action at the end.
Absolutely. Yes. I love that you're talking about that. What would you say, and we're going to get into your story in a minute, but just on that note, what would you say to people that say, you're always selling, you're always putting a call to action, or you're always, we kind of hear that, especially in the online world. We hear that in the online world more than businesses offline. But what would you say to that? Because here's my theory. We're in business. We're here to do business. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, right?
Right.
To waste my time. And yes, I'll give you value. And yes, I'll show up and I'll share and I'll do all of those things. But at the end of the day, I am a business. I'm trying to grow a business. That is my purpose here. It's not just to build a lot of friends and get a lot of followers, which is what a lot of people kind of think about. But I would love your take on that.
I feel like the call to action could be a simple one. Like, let's get together and offline this and let's go have coffee and see how ways that we can collaborate. That's a call to action.
Yes.
And it's not that I want your business, but you could be a great complement to mine. You could be a very good complement to my clients. You could be what elevates my game to my clients by having another incredible expert that I can put in front of them, right? You're cool by association. That's what I tell everybody. I'm cool by association. If someone's looking for an accountant that specializes in something important or a specific niche like construction or restaurants, I can be that solution. I'm like, you know what? I know someone and I can't promise that they're exactly what you're looking for, but it gives you a good starting point. But I wouldn't have that person had I not gone to the call to action of let's meet for coffee. Let me find out what areas you specialize in. And then you start mapping out your center of influences. That's business development. See, sales, I feel it's like, hey, do you want a phone? Do you want a case? Do you want a thing? And then it goes back to no. It's like, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
What are your pains right now? I may not be able to help you today, but give me a week or so. Feel free to call me if you have a question. You're developing those relationships. You're sending out that foundation. You're becoming more of an advisor and not just another salesperson, Even in the car lots, people are like, listen, what do you want to drive? That's what makes a Bentley salesperson different than anyone else. Or if you're going for a luxury vehicle experience, it's a completely different experience. That shopper knows what they want. They know what they're looking for. They've done their homework, but you're there to just fine tune their knowledge base. Same thing with business in general. So I think salespeople, when you educate yourself and you become business development, then it's different. You're not looking for the quick fix. You're looking for long-term engagement.
Yes. And I do believe that you need both types of sales, right? You have the now buyers, you have the people that are ready and they're looking for you and you have the solution. And then you have the long play, which is, it's very much like a brand versus marketing. A brand is a long play, right? It's a long game. And marketing is now trying to get the now buyers or to get people basically into your funnel or into your ecosystem, so to speak. Well, sales is the same way. You build the long-term relationships, but then you also have the people that you want to have calls to action out there for the people that are looking for your help right now. So it does take both the short and the long. Do you agree with that too?
100%, Ann. It's like golf. I say to people, you need a good short game and you need a good long game.
Yes.
Because you never know when someone's going to come to you and be like, you know what? I'm fed up. I can't make my sales. They're stagnant. I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then they have a sense of need. They have a sense of urgency. And you can come in and you're like, listen, what small time project can I help you with right now? This is what my expertise is. Maybe we can work on something for the next 3 months. Short-term project, get you unstuck, get your traction. I know you feel stuck in the mud. Let me take off your peripheral vision. Let me take off your blinders and give you more of a 270-degree view. And those are short games. But then there's people that are like, okay, we want to open up a new line of business. We want to go B2B. We've been B2C all our lives. We want to go B2B. How do we do this? That's not a short game. That's a 6 to 9 to 12 month process because
At least.
Yes, you need to come up with a strategy, a plan. You need to come up with action items. You need to come up with how you're going to do the data collecting, how you're going to analyze it, how you're then going to then take that data and turn it into information. Who are you targeting? Is it hitting? Is it sticking? Are you going to reach out to them by email, by good old fashioned US Postal Service, phone calls? When? All of these details goes into a long-term B2B strategy. And again, that's the long game versus the short game.
Right. So let's go back to your story. I know your story and I think it's really interesting. And it was interesting when we were talking about what we were going to do on the show. And we found out that we have a lot of similarities in our backgrounds. And I thought that was that's why I love diving into people's stories and where they come from. So, but I'm going to let you share a little bit about what brought you to where you are right now. And 25 years in sales, that's a long time. So give us a kind of a shortened version of that path.
Yeah, I'll start with the highlights. So, I think when you're getting out of high school and you find a nice little job that you want to maybe try when you're going into college and everything like that, I had to work and get my degree. And I got very lucky. And I'm going to say that because my cousin said, I don't want you just doing a regular job. My friend is the manager for a high-end furniture shop. She's looking for an assistant. I really think this is good for you. So I got immersed in this, luxury market where tables, dining chairs were like $5,000-$6,000. This was back in 1997.
A long time ago, yes.
1997, where literally I'm just out of high school freaking out because someone's going to come in and buy a $6,000 dining room table and they're going to take 6 of them.
Yes.
But that teaches you that these are educated consumers. These are people that are there. They've done their homework. And that was the first exposure I had to the luxury goods market. And I remember that she was then moving on to a different job. And she said to me, I really think that you should go back to retail, but do high-end retail. And then this is when I told you that, I had worked for Louis Vuitton for 3+ years in my formidable years. Because again, the luxury client is a different client. They're educated.
Yes.
They have a certain level of expertise. They want a certain level of treatment. They want you to really know your stuff on the other end of the counter. And then that's when I realized that not all sales are created equal. Not all salespeople are created equal. And I went to college and then I was a wealth advisor, and then I've taken my expertise in that, and then came the first level of networking I had. And that was groundbreaking. What do you mean go out and develop center of influences? What do you mean go out there and meet all these other professionals? I didn't have any of that, but I started learning and building on that. But my background is math and science, and I always dug it down to data. How do I leverage this? How do I make it better? How do I take something and improve on it? And then I just developed a career out of that. And, when I left being a wealth advisor and went into corporate America, I miss networking. But now I'm in a company. I'm in a Fortune 40 company where networking is not necessary. But I was like, okay, I want to network with other departments. And I would go meet other people. And I would be like, what department are you in? What department are you in? Why? Because even in corporate America, you need to rely on other departments. And that's when I developed that other necessity. And it was important to know what other resources we had. And that's what I tell people. Networking is not just for the business world. It's actually also for intercompany. And that was something that I definitely didn't know until I was in it. And then I got out and I went back into the networking space. And then I realized I got hired by a fractional CFO firm. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't networked in forever. Okay, it's just like riding a bicycle. And I got back into it. And when the company reorged, I realized that everything I had accumulated over the last 25 years, no one teaches. No one teaches you how to leverage. No one teaches you how to do a good discovery call. There's no book. This is the one area where you can't really learn it from a book. You can only learn it from someone who's there, who can coach you and make your skill sets more sharp and laser focused.
Right. Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement.
I love this. So once you got into this, one thing you said is, I loved this and I was good at this and I loved this and I was good at this. And what I see, Mariangelica, is you have actually pulled all of that kind of expertise into the business that you now have. And I love that because I teach that to people. So often people leave out some of the most valuable skill sets and knowledge and experience and even passion that they have. And they sort of go down this path of, oh, I think I'll do this, or I think I'll teach this, or I think this is what my business will be around. But there's all of this other experience and expertise that is literally left out of the mix. And that's that's your high dollar plays. And those are your big moves. And so I love that you've done that. You figured that out. First of all, who makes a good company for you or a good client for you?
Usually it's a business owner that is getting ready to hire. They're ready to stop being the rainmaker for their company, even though they're never really stopped being a rainmaker, but they want to bring in someone who's going to be part of their sales team. Because I always tell them, have you written out your standard operating procedures for the sales team? And they're like, what do you mean? And
Right.
Well, you got to shorten the learning curve. There's always going to be a learning curve, but how do you transfer what's up here into paper so then that person can come in and be like, okay, these are the talking points. These are the things that I need to know. This is the way that we got to do it. This has been work. This is something that I can improve upon. I said, all of that needs to be written down. You need to have that. The other thing.
Do you create the SOPs for them?
Yeah, I help them do that.
Okay.
Yes, that's one of the things that I've realized most companies do not have. They don't have a standard operating procedure for their sales team. Mm-hmm. Setting up your computer, going into your LinkedIn, setting up your passwords. Those are things that they handle to IT. But then how are you going to formulate those templates to send out to introduce yourself to your new client base? They leave that all up to them. Have templates done. Have that already done for them. Make it simple for them. They can modify them if they want. They can add a little more personality, but you're giving them already a guide. And the other thing is documenting everything on a CRM. I always tell everybody where you house your information is crucial. I don't care if it starts out with an Excel spreadsheet. You can do filters, you can pick things, you can color code, but put it somewhere because all that data then can be analyzed and then you can have a record of where you've had your successes or your areas of opportunity. So I come into a business usually when they're about 1 million to 1.5 million revenue. They've done great on their own, but now they need another level. And that's where they get stuck. The business owner has never been probably a salesperson. So identify a good salesperson if you've never been one. And most salespeople, unfortunately, we're like lone wolves. We're great at what we do, but we don't really know how to mentor someone that we want to bring up. So then that's another thing. Even though that business owner has been a great salesperson, can they teach? Can they coach?
You have to be able to duplicate what you have, what you've basically done. Yes, that's so good. So you actually go in and you'll physically put in CRMs, customer relation management system. So for anyone that's, doesn't know what a CRM is, I can remember back in the day, we didn't have CRMs. Like, how did we do it? I think we did use spreadsheets and things were kept in notebook and all of that. But it's so much easier in the marketplace today and all the systems and everything that we have. But so many companies, you're right, are still not utilizing them, still don't take advantage of what they could be doing. And they're leaving a lot of money on the table as well, not having those things in place. So when you go into work with a company, do you do an initial assessment? First of all, let's talk about how you find your clients. I love for people to be able to see inside of other people's businesses and what they're doing that's working really well. So what's your main way to get clients for your business?
Well, it started out with networking. I feel like that is such an important part of anyone's business. Why? Because you learn how to share what you do with others. And it's a pitch. It is an elevator pitch, but you need to summarize what you do in less than 2 minutes. This is what I tell everybody. Have a conversation about it. So a lot of it is through networking, and you develop those channels. I love professional organizations, but then I also do webinars and I do seminars where I speak about the pains that most businesses are feeling. The customer relationship management tool, the CRM, it's this thing that people know they have to utilize it, but then it's this daunting task of a mountain they have to come. Like, no.
Well, there's a lot to it. There's
Yeah.
a lot to putting in a CRM and getting it up to speed. Yes.
Yes. But in the beginning, start little by little. Add your contacts, categorize them, find ways, learn how to send emails through it, all those things, because again, those CRMs now track when your emails are opened. And who doesn't want to know if you're sending out a proposal if your email was opened? I know when my emails are opened. I need to know that. Especially now with a lot of things on the algorithm side, when you're sending out emails to certain clients or certain prospects, companies are putting these filters that can put you automatically to spam or quarantine you.
Yes, or put you into the promotional category. Well, that's a big thing now, is not necessarily going to spam, but it's going into promotion. So if you're not opening up your promotion tabs, so even in like Outlook, we have focused and we have other, like you have to check both of those. So it used to be you just check the spam if you didn't see something. Now they've made that even more difficult.
And it's even worse when you think your email was sent and has been quarantined by the system.
Mm-hmm.
That happened to me with 4 prospects. I was like, okay, it's been day 3. They haven't opened up my email. And I called them and they were like, we never got your email. What we've been waiting for? And I was like, okay, you might have maybe overly sensitized your email delivery system. Could you check have I been quarantined? Sure enough, I had been quarantined. So they had to go give me the blessing, and now my emails started going through. But I wouldn't have known that had I not sent my emails with that little algorithm code on the back that tells me if it's been opened or not. And how many times it's been opened. So that's one data point that I think it's crucial for any organization, sales or not.
Yes, absolutely. So good. So you started with networking, and is that still your primary way to get clients, or how do you get your clients now? What's your best form?
I really love LinkedIn. I really do think that it's a great way to connect. Again, it's about finding other professionals that complement your area of business. I don't go to sell through LinkedIn. I am literally just wanting to connect with people and say, hey, what do you do? This is what I do. If you're ever in South Florida, come over and we'll have coffee in person. You meet other fractionals, the fractional HR, fractional CFOs. You never know. And then sometimes they have someone in mind that they're like, you know what? This was serendipitous. Yeah, I think I have someone fantastic. This is the assessment. And you ask that question. I go in and I tell them, I want to analyze where they're at. What are their sticking points? Where are their pain points? And then I go into, are your emails opened? Do you use a CRM? How often do you use your CRM? Where are you collecting your data? This is all my analytics are coming in, and I have a form that I go through that just gives me an idea of where they're at. And then where do you want to begin? It's always my question to the business owner, because I may have a menu of services, but none of them could interest them because they could just want this one. Like, I'm having an issue with X. Tell me your low-hanging problem that I can relieve and give you that solution for first, and then we can build on that.
Mm-hmm. So good. So entrepreneurs or business, like traditional business owners, plumbing companies, roofing companies, who makes the best client for you?
Anybody. And I know that sounds broad, but this is what I'm saying. It's even though the areas and the industries are broad, the mindset of the business owner is the differentiator. Why? Because that person's got to be ready to scale. That person's got to be ready to put in the work. They have to be coachable. They have to be someone that is looking to improve their processes. So it's not industry specific. It's mindset specific. Some people are like, and it goes age. Age is also another one. There's a certain baby boomers that are still business owners that they're the ones that are like, I don't want to learn. I don't need to learn that. I have an assistant. I'm like, cool. But at least let me get you the basics. And then you can pass off the more advanced stuff to the assistant, which they're executive assistants. They're not just run-of-the-mill assistants. These ladies and these men run and fill those gaps for their business owners so they can go out there and be the rainmakers. And I get that. But it's more of the mindset. Like right now, I have a tax firm that we're right now revamping some things for them. I have a restaurant that we're developing a B2B strategy for them. And I have a law firm that we're actually working on fine-tuning some things for them. So right there is 3 different industries that you'd think.
Right.
But the things that I'm offering them are horizontal in nature. They're streamlining. They're being more effective. They're about, how do you leverage better what you have already? It's just sometimes a small tweak. Sometimes it's a big tweak.
What's your pitch? Give us your elevator pitch.
Oh my gosh. Well, hi, Ann. Mariangelica with Luminary Catalyst. I actually help companies fine-tune their sales, and I help them implement technology and data. Your CRM is your most important thing to mine for gold.
Very good. All right.
Yay.
Okay.
I do a lot.
I love it. So we talked about spheres of influence. We talked about networking and just building relationships. So many good things. There's so much gold in this podcast. So thank you so much for being open and sharing. How can people get a hold of you?
You can definitely meet me or come to my website, luminarycatalyst.com, or
on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn and LinkedIn as well. Like my name is so long and unique. Trust me, when you put in all the letters in there, I'll be the one that pops up.
Now, did you tell me to, just backing up a little bit, are you an immigrant to
Yes.
the United States? I thought you had told me that. Yes.
I'm bilingual, and I actually help a lot of Spanish companies down here in South Florida that want to translate their business to the more, American style. So I help them also take what's been working, because there's things that get lost in translation,
Right.
So there's a different way of doing business. There's a slower pace. There's a different pace. I always tell people, when you're doing business in the Hispanic world, we want to get to know you before we talk business. So we'll have coffee. And then in the American world, you're like, let's cut out the chit chat and let's get to the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
So it depends really on meeting somewhere in the middle. So I help a lot of Spanish companies down here as well in South Florida.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, you can get a hold of, we're going to put her links in the show notes. And again, I reached out to her on LinkedIn. I had actually seen her on another podcast, a friend of mine, and she did such an amazing job. I knew I wanted her on the show. So thank you so much for being here. This has been...
Yes, the pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is literally all mine. Thank you.
Well, God bless you. Thank you. All right, everyone. Until next time, make sure you share the show. Other people need to know about Mariangelica, and they need to know what she does. People are looking for services like this. So please share the show and like it, subscribe it. We're trying to get it up to one of the top 1% podcasts. So we appreciate your help on that. And until next time, God bless you and go rock your business. Have an amazing day.
The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Although I share strategies, ideas, and success stories based on real experiences, results are never guaranteed. Every business is unique, and outcomes depend on individual effort, market conditions, and many other factors. By listening, you agree that I and my guests are not responsible for your results or actions based on the content shared. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're as excited as I am about scaling up your influence, business, and bank account, then I have just the thing for you. But first, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second, make sure you share it with someone you care about, because sharing is caring. And third, head on over to join me in my next free virtual exclusive workshop, where we'll explore proven strategies to boost your business and maximize your potential. Look, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're looking to take your business to the next level, my workshops are designed for you. So head on over to expertinyouworkshop.com to reserve your spot and get ready to transform your expertise into extraordinary success. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and helping you achieve incredible growth. Until next time, make sure you're always seeking the expert in you, and God bless. Have an amazing day.